Hey, what's up, guys? It's Randall from OddsJam back with you today to talk to you about how you can become a profitable sports bettor. There are tips, there are strategies out there that you can implement, that you can use to become a profitable sports bettor. And so I'm going to share with you my top 5 ways of how you can profit from sports betting because you absolutely can, but you have to follow these tips, follow these strategies. You have to avoid some things. So let's just jump right in it. I've created a slideshow here that I'm going to go through. So, again, how to make money on sports betting. This is something that a lot of people do not believe is possible, but it actually is. So, number one, shop around for the best price. And I'm going to go into details on all of these here in just a second. Number two, don't bet on games without an edge. Number three, avoid parlays. Number four, don't chase your losses. And number five, probably most importantly, bankroll management. So for the first slide here, first tip or strategy, line shopping. All right, this is very, very important. If you are going to profit in sports betting, you have to line shop. When you are betting, there is absolutely zero reason for you to take a line on something that has worse odds. And so we can see here, this is just an example, the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. This is a game that's coming up this week as I record this video. You can see here that the line at all of these sports books that I have is somewhere between 2 and 2.5. And so with that said, if I want to take the Colts at -2, I can do that on either BetRivers or Barstool for -112. If I want to take the Jaguars, I can do that. I can get the best number +2.5, -107. So when you're looking at this, there's absolutely no reason for me to bet Jacksonville +2 at -109 when I can get Jacksonville +2.5 at -107. I'm actually getting a cheaper price on the Jaguars at +2.5 as opposed to the +2. If the Jaguars lose by 2 and I bet this on BetRivers or Barstool, I push my bet, I get my money back. If they lose by 2 and I bet it on any of these books, preferably PointsBet, because that's where the best odds are, I would actually win my bet. Same thing goes if you're going to bet the Colts. Why would I lay, -110 if I can get basically that same price at -2? So if I'm going to take the Colts -2.5, I might as well do it -2 at -112. Now, again, how much you would weigh a half a point. NFL numbers, key numbers in the NFL. 2.5 is a very key number. Teams win by 3 quite often. So depending on what you value that at. But the point here is, if you're going to take Jacksonville, you should definitely take the +2.5 at PointsBet. If you're going to take the Colts, you should definitely take it -2, -112. And then if we look at the money line, again, if I'm wanting to bet on Indianapolis money line, this would be what I would have to risk to win $100. So if I'm going to bet this at FanDuel, I have to risk $142 to win 100. Why would I do that when I can bet 132 to win the same amount? It just wouldn't make sense. So you constantly want to be line shopping. Same with Jacksonville. If I'm going to bet Jacksonville for 100, why would I bet it on MGM to win 110 when I can do it on FanDuel and they're going to pay me 120? So this all adds up in sports betting. It may not sound like it, but it certainly does, or it may not look like it, but it certainly does matter long term. You need to get the best odds. You need to get the best of the number if you want to be profitable. Second point, do not bet on games without an edge. This is probably the number one issue I see with sports bettors, even, sports bettors who have been betting for a long time, and it's betting on a game because it's on TV. If you're planning to watch the Sunday night football game, you absolutely do not have to place a bet on that game just because you're watching it. Now, if you have an edge on that game, within it, then it's definitely worth betting. But, I hear it a lot with sports bettors that they'll bet on games because they're on TV. And, they want to have a sweat. They want to have action on the game. They're not able to just watch the game and enjoy it. And that's a big mistake for sports bettors, because when you don't have an edge, you're flipping a coin where the house actually has the edge. So this is something to definitely avoid. I mean, Monday Night Football, exists. Thursday Night Football exists. Sunday Night Football exists. I mean, college basketball, all of these games, especially college basketball now, and even college football, more and more are being, available. They're available for you to watch online. You don't have to bet every single one of those. So that's something to keep in mind as well. My third point, or my third tip or strategy, is to avoid parlays. Is it okay to bet parlays? I mean, certainly it is. However, avoiding parlays that are longer shots is something that can help you in becoming a profitable sports bettor long term. You see it all the time on Twitter, these 10, 12 leg parlays, or even these 3 or 4 leg parlays of, huge odds. You always see the winners. You never see the losers. So, in terms of parlays, any parlays that I build are mathematically profitable. And I know that I at least have a slight edge when I'm placing them. And so what I like to do is I like to use the tools at OddsJam. Oftentimes, using a book or a fantasy app like Prize Picks, like Underdog Fantasy, to where I can really see, what the value is. Now, unfortunately, if I were doing Underdog, there's not much value out there right now as I record this video. But we can see here that, in this Phillies Braves game, the over-under player bases for Orlando Arcia is -137 on Prize Picks. The average odds are -158. And we can see that, it's -190 at MGM, -185 at DraftKings, -190 at Pinnacle. And the no vig odds are -153. So we're getting a great price here at -137. Now, that would be if I'm building a 2-leg entry. And as we can see here, this would be another great betting opportunity, or another great leg to add into this entry, because again, average odds -139, we're getting -137. Now, our no vig odds are actually slightly worse, but what we're doing is we're building, an entry here that has some value. So that's how I like to build parlays. You can certainly, if you wanted to just build parlays, let's say with FanDuel, that's something that you could do. Again, I'm looking at these filters and I'm just trying to find out where the value is on FanDuel. So maybe I take Arkansas -3.5. Maybe I take the over 65.5, because that would be a profitable parlay. So parlays are definitely something to avoid unless, you truly feel you have an edge. And then, probably I would say another very important, all of these are very, very important, but don't chase your losses. That's probably the number one mistake that sports bettors make when it comes to sports betting. When you're chasing your losses, you're obviously not thinking with a clear head. And so basically you're betting to try to get back what you lost on a bad beat, or, a bet where you really felt you had an edge. And so this leads to you just betting games where you have no edge at all. And essentially you're just hoping to recover some of what you lost on a previous bet. And every sports bettor is guilty of this. I actually ran into this very recently, had a bad beat in the NFL, and it led to, me betting a few games that I didn't really have an edge on, and ultimately led to losing more. It just compiles. So it gets you doing things that you wouldn't normally do. So don't chase your losses. And then the last one, and this is probably the biggest pet peeve of mine in terms of sports betting. Number one, you have to have a bankroll if you're wanting to be a profitable sports bettor, and you have to know how to manage it. So having a bankroll is very important. Knowing how to manage it is as equally important, because if you don't have a bankroll, and if you don't know how to manage a bankroll, if you have one, you are going to find yourself in trouble very, very quickly. I always suggest a unit of someone's bankroll is 1%. So if you have a $1,000 bankroll that you're working with, you would essentially be betting $10 per game. Now, again, that doesn't sound, exciting. Like, who wants to bet $10 on an NFL game? But realistically, that's what you should be betting if you were going to bet 1% of your bankroll on a game. If you wanted to bet 3%, then you would be betting $30. So too often, I mean, I see it all the time. I have friends that do it. They will bet $100 per game just because, that's kind of the standard thing to do. And this can be a very, very costly mistake, because let's just say, for example, my bankroll is $1,000 and I bet 4 NFL games on Sunday and I go 1-3. I've lost basically, 20% of my bankroll in one day. And that can be very, very detrimental. And then one last thing, just a bonus tip, is to have multiple sports books and take advantage of every sign-up offer that is out there and available in your state. This is a great way to build your bankroll. I've got the links in the description below. You can check out all of those books to see if you have those. Sign up for them, take advantage of those offers. I mean, I'm located here in Illinois. You can see if I come here to the legalization tracker on OddsJam, I've got all of these sports books with these sign-up bonuses. Again, this is just a great way to build your bankroll and get started in sports betting. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, comments about the video, please feel free to drop those in the comments below. You can always email me, Randall@oddsjam.com. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope this video was helpful, and hopefully it can help you make some money sports